Now on the APEC VIP hotline, cutting-edge training for the serious athlete, apecgo.com. The results show when the athletes hit the field. With us right now, the author of the Big Mac blog from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram and DFWOT, Mac Engel. How you doing, Mac?
Can't complain. What's going on, Bryan?
Well, it's just another Monday. You know what I mean? I got to ask you something because I know you write on so many various and different things. Various and different. That's redundant. But anyway, for the Big Mac blog, I'm taking it because I haven't seen a sports article on that blog in about a month now. I'm taking it you're bored as hell with the NBA and the NHL.
No, I'm not. I know it's the last few days I did some things that were very non-sports related, but
and that's okay.
I did sort of a downtime though. I think I totally misread how bad the Mavericks were going to be this year, and I bought in, and I was ignorantly optimistic that I thought with the moves that they made with Dirk still there and at the very end of his prime, I thought they'd be a lot better than they are. You know, obviously hockey's got nothing, and the Cowboys are doing nothing. But I just did not anticipate the Mavericks being this bad. And now, you know, Mark Cuban has said, Bryan, the bank of Cuban is open, but the problem is it's open for who or for what? And there's just not a lot. Everybody's praying for Dwight Howard, but I'm not sure if he's not a giant Trojan horse given his injuries and his limited offensive game. So when it comes to the Mavericks right now, it's just sort of you're looking at it, it's like, man, well, what have you got? And we've got 3 weeks before Rangers and start with pitchers and catchers reporting and all that. So it's just the deadest time of year, and hockey, as you well know, just doesn't. I like hockey. I love the Stars. I wish they would win. But man, oh man, nobody cares about that team right now. They've got to really do something for people to really buy in, which bums me out, but that's just the reality of it.
It is the reality. Existence. All right. So then, that being said, we'll try to make something interesting out of this segment today. First of all, I did notice, and obviously the talk right now, what little bit of talk there is about the complete and utter dysfunction of the Dallas Cowboys right now. Has it ever been worse than it is right now?
That's a good question. At least since. Has it ever been as bad as it is right now? The closest I think anybody could, you'd have to say the Dave Campo era, but you could understand it.
Yeah. You
could totally understand it because, you know, just down cycles occur for even the best of teams. They didn't have a quarterback. So you understood that. This one is a little bit harder to swallow because I think what happened was they had their up cycle. They had their window. And instead of really exploiting it and taking advantage of it, it looks like what we may have seen is that their window was an NFC East title in 2007 and a 10-6 one playoff win season in 2010. And that was it. Normally when teams are in that window and their cycle of winning is now, so to speak, you normally see a Super Bowl run. You normally see an NFC or an AFC East or an AFC championship game appearance, something like that. And with the Cowboys in this, you know, cycle, their longest run was a wild card playoff win before they went up to Minnesota and got smoked by Brett Favre and the Vikings a couple of years ago. And ever since then, that's it. And I think that is the most disheartening part, is that you know in sports a downtime is going to happen, but you want the uptime to be really good. And this uptime, it looks like it was just okay.
Well, and on top of that, then you see now Jerry has completely, castrated his head coach. He has completely gutted him. I don't know how Jason Garrett gets up in the morning without just being in like heavy depression about having to go through the charade of being the head coach when he's all he's going to do is go play solitaire during coaches meetings.
Well, I do think anybody who takes this job knows, especially Jason Garrett, considering how long he's been around the organization. So I think he went in with his eyes wide open.
You think he felt it? You think he felt it was going to ever get as bad as it is right now?
No, but I don't think any coach who ever takes any of these jobs ever looks at it with the idea of it. Boy, it's going to get bad. It's going to get bad. The coach has to have the ego large enough to say, we can go in here, with my staff, when we learn as we go, we're going to make things better, we're going to improve it, And they don't see the 5-11, they don't see the 4-12, or if they do, they convince themselves that it can be otherwise. And I think with Garrett coming in, I really do believe that he thought, given enough time, that he could make the necessary improvements and changes in place from the way Wade was doing things, that they would be really successful. And it hasn't worked out that way.
Well, so now he hasn't even been allowed to hire his own he'll get to hire Derek Dooley. That'll make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, who cares? I mean, any of these position coaches do nothing for me. I've seldom, in my experience, do assistant coaches in any major sport really make that much of a difference.
Well,
every now and then you'll find a pitching coach who really will connect with a certain pitcher and unlock some real talent. Every now and then you'll find a batting coach who does the same thing. But by and large, for the most part, they're mostly interchangeable because that's why you see them changing addresses routinely. Tony Sperano, he's amazing, he's the Jets, now he's here. Rob Bryan, didn't take him 5 minutes, defensive coordinator in St. Louis. They just keep recycling the same 5 names everywhere. They're all good at what they do, but ultimately they ain't worth anything if they don't have talent, and they all know it.
Well, but
I think go ahead.
It gives Jason somebody to talk to because the rest of the staff's not going to be listening to him. I mean, they got a different boss. They got Jerry.
Well, and that is the problem. And I think the players know it.
Sure they do.
It's not like any of these players out there are sort of flying blind in this situation. And I think the scariest part about this is that, and it's been written, it's been opined, it's the Raiders analogy under Al Davis. It just becomes more and more and more clear every season. It just becomes clearer and clearer that Jerry's fingerprints are just all over this thing. And the difference is people didn't like Al. People didn't want to be around Al. People were scared of Al Davis. People like Jerry. Jerry wants to have fun running a football team, and that's why one of the reasons he surrounds himself with a bunch of guys who love having fun with Jerry in pro sports. And I got to tell you, having been around it a few times peripherally, it's a hell of a lot of fun. It is a hell of a lot of fun. That's why none of these guys ever leave. That's why these guys will sit there and stand up for Jerry forever. It's a great time.
Oh, man.
It's a giant frat party, and it is. It's a lot of fun. But at the end of it, it's also very, very telling. A couple different things. I remember one time a veteran NFL reporter pointed this out to me. All these coaches who have worked for Bill Parcells or Tom Coughlin or any of these other really uncomfortable, hard-driving men, they all may hate them, but they will all go to work for them because they always know that they know what they're doing and that they'll be successful. And it's just, I mean, now obviously Parcells has been out of it for a long time, but that is, it's just an inescapable truth, and you want Jerry to be successful and you want him to win, but after a while the track record speaks for itself, and now you've got a head coach who, if he can keep this team together and he can keep them playing as hard as they have played for him since he took over, that will be an impressive achievement. Because now the players really know, Bryan, this guy's totally neutered.
And what was so funny is I listened to Ozzie Newsome in a news conference on Friday, and they were asking him if he or the owner forced John Harbaugh to fire Cam Cameron, the offensive coordinator, back in December. And he said, no. He says, no. He says, the first time you start getting involved and you start becoming an influence and you start making your head coach do things like that as an owner or a GM, that head coach can't stand up before his staff or his players. He's lost his team. And that blew my mind to hear somebody, a guy who is obviously the anti-Jerry. He is a good general manager who understands that if the coach isn't the authority, then he's got no hammer at all, and he's just a figurehead.
Well, I do think we are really close to that with Jason Garrett. And, Ozzie Newsome is right. When you start doing that stuff, when you start affecting the coach's room, when you start affecting the locker room in these ways, then yeah, you really usurped this man's authority. And unfortunately, now Jason Garrett Now Jason Garrett has to go look these guys in the face and convince them that he is in charge.
Good luck with that.
And, yeah, absolutely. Good luck with that is exactly right. And maybe he can do it. I think it will be very, very hard. But maybe he can do it. At this point, that's his only option. He's got 1 year, and I can't imagine he would have more than a year right now. But this is the guy, and I really had this situation misread. When they hired him in 2007, when Jerry made hiring Jason Garrett the priority over hiring the head coach after Bill Parcells resigned, that I really thought they have got the right guy in place. They will groom this guy to basically become a Bill Cowher type of long-term coach for the Dallas Cowboys. that they had found their guy. That Jerry Jones had eyeballed this guy and followed this guy and then made him a priority. And the plan of it seemed solid. Even the way it sort of developed seemed solid. And now it just appears to have all fallen apart. And rather than really just stick with it, Jerry's sitting there saying, well, we got to do something. What are you going to do? Well, let's fire a bunch of these assistant coaches and find these other guys. Okay. And in the process, let's destroy the reputation of the head coach in the locker room.
Yep. Crushed.
And, oh, yeah, your team's not good enough anyways.
Yeah.
Good luck.
And I'm in charge of the draft.
Yeah, oh yeah, and I'm going to sign off in the draft, even though I'll have a handful of scouts and a player personnel director and the head coach saying, what do you think of this player? No. What about you? No. Okay, we're going to do it anyways.
Yeah,
That's the same thought process behind drafting Quincy Carter was exactly in place with the drafting of Dez Bryant. The difference is Dez has shown you a little bit of something where Quincy drove you crazy.
Yeah. They need offensive linemen, which is why they'll draft Tyler Wilson first round. You know
it's
coming.
I'll say this. I don't think they will do that. I don't think they'll. This class is so bad in terms of, I shouldn't say horrible, but it's not thought to be a good quality draft for quarterbacks. I bet you $100 they'll draft a guard.
God, I hope you're right. I really
Who cares? If he can't play, so what? If it's a reach, it's a reach. But I bet you $100 that's who they. But Brian, that team has so many needs.
Oh, I know.
They're going to draft a punter. Great. We need one of those.
Oh, man. All right, let's talk Super Bowl. Let's talk about good football teams for just a few minutes.
Okay.
All right, I want you to
tell.
Who
do you got?
Well, I'm going to get to that. I want to break it down this way. Take your choice, Kaepernick or Flacco?
Taking Joe Flacco.
Are you?
Yeah. At the beginning of the season, I picked the Ravens. I think I had the Ravens winning the Super Bowl. I had the Ravens and Falcons in the Super Bowl. First time in my life, right? It's thrilled. And then the Falcons screw up my prediction by losing. I'm a believer in Joe Flacco, and I'm a believer in the pocket passer because the pocket passer does not get killed.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I love this offense that the 49ers are running. I love it. I think it's great, it's different, it's variety. The NFL doesn't have enough of it, but I think ultimately it will get your quarterback killed, even though Colin Kaepernick is young and he can probably take a hit right now. I am taking the pocket passer every day of the week. The only reason I would take the 49ers is because I think their defense is a little bit better, but I am going to bet on Joe Flacco because I think Colin Kaepernick, I keep saying this and he never does it, I think he will make a mistake that will prove fatal in that game.
Who do you like better, Frank Gore or Ray Rice?
Oh, man, that's a great one. Man, that's a great question. Who do you like better, Frank Gore or Ray Rice? God, I love both those guys. Man, I don't know. Take a pick. Really good versus really good. Give me really good. I'll probably take Ray Rice just because I think his ability as a pass catcher is just slightly better than Frank Gore's, but neither one of them are stiff. They're both great.
Defense, which one you like better, 49ers, Ravens?
Love Aldon Smith, Patrick Willis, Justin Smith. I like all those guys, so I will take the 49ers. But I'm a big fan of Ed Reed. I love it. I don't know how old Ed Reed really is. He looks like he's about 57, but I'm a big fan of Ed Reed. But give me that front seven. I know the Ravens are all, the mystique of the front seven, but I think that 49ers front seven is better.
Who were you more impressed with in the run through the playoffs? The fact that the 49ers knocked off Aaron Rodgers and Matty Ice, or the fact that the Ravens knocked off Luck, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady?
Oh, Ravens. Did it on the road twice. You know, that Colts team had a cute little mojo thing going, but the fact that they went in on the road and did it to Manning, and then did the same thing to Brady was really impressive. And as far as I was concerned, the 49ers were much better than the Packers. The Falcons should have won that game, how they had it won. And to me, Matty Ice is just a cute name. As much as I like that guy and as good a player as I think he is, he did not nearly have the track records of Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. So I'm more impressed with what the Ravens did to get to where they are.
All right, and lastly, which Harbaugh do you like better, John or Jim?
That's a good question. I like them both. I think they're both pretty good for the league. They're fun characters to follow. But I am from Indianapolis, Indiana originally. I grew up a Colts fan, and people forget, before Peyton Manning, Jim Harbaugh led the Colts on a couple of impressive runs.
Yes, he did.
And was a dropped Hail Mary pass away from putting the Colts into the Super Bowl, which would have been against the Cowboys in '96.
Captain Comeback.
Captain Comeback. I always thought he sucked as a quarterback, but he did have a cute little run there for a while, and a lot of people liked him. And for some ungodly reason, his number is retired by the Indianapolis Colts, which means my number could be retired by the Indianapolis Colts, and I never played for him. So I got to say, for legacy and what he meant to that city for a little while, I'll go with Jim Harbaugh.
All right, but you ultimately you're going to go with the Ravens.
Yeah, I'll go. What's the line? Do you have any ideas? I think
it's 3. I think it's 3 now. It's down to 3, I believe.
Wow.
It started out like at 5, and all the money went on the Ravens.
I'll stay with the Ravens, but I would not. I don't know if you have followed my football picks against the line this year. I'm a broke man.
Your Monopoly money's gone, dude.
My Monopoly money is gone. I'm at the fake ATM machine, reaching for my wallet, etc. So I would definitely go for the Ravens and the points. And there's one more thing I think it's worth mentioning for Texans and people who like football in this state. The 49ers have Leonard Davis as a backup offensive lineman for their team. And Bryan, in my however many years of covering pro sports, I don't know if I've ever met a more genuinely decent man than Leonard Davis.
Wow.
And he is as good as they come. He is a gentle giant in every sense of the word. And he is everything good that you would want representing the University of Texas in the NFL. And I am just thrilled the fact that he's in there because he lost a lot of games with the Cardinals. He had some good individual seasons with the Cowboys when they moved him to guard, and he looked pretty good. But the fact that he's got one last run in him, he's been part of this, I am thrilled for him. He's such a genuinely good guy, and if I had to buy an NFL jersey with the name on it, it would be L. Davis because he is a wonderful man.
Boy, that is a strong endorsement. By the way, I did look it up. Everybody has the 49ers favored anywhere from 3.5 to 5 points.
What about you? You've been asking me, would you, if you had to go take your Bryan Houston money?
49ers.
To cover.
Man, see,
okay,
I don't like betting line. I hate betting. Yeah, to cover. I'll go to cover because, ultimately, Super Bowls aren't decided by 3 points. They're usually decided by a touchdown or more. So I'll go with the 49ers. I really do like what Jim Harbaugh has done with that football team. I know John Harbaugh is a great coach. I just don't know. The Ravens' defense is hot, but it's old.
Yep.
And I don't have the faith in Flacco that you do.
God, nobody does. Nobody does.
Really, I would take Romo over Flacco.
Joe Flacco has playoff wins in each of his first 5 seasons. He just went on the road and he beat Manning and Brady.
Now, he played great in these playoffs. Okay, he played great in these playoffs, but so did Kaepernick.
Yeah, you're right. Kaepernick's looks phenomenal.
I'll tell you
how Shereen Williams of the Star Telegram wrote it today, and she is dead on. How did so many teams pass on this guy?
Oh, it amazes me. And then how did he go to Nevada? How did so many college teams pass on him? Because the he's a physical freak. He's 6'5". He can run like the wind. He was a baseball prospect. He was a great athlete. How is it that he ended up at Nevada instead of going to USC?
You want to know why I know this? Because
grades?
NFL scouts are just as dumb as the members of the media who cover these games.
Well, we know at least that's true in Dallas. That is absolutely true in Dallas.
Bryan, I mean this respectfully everywhere. I've met a lot of scouts. They're all pros. They're all good at what they do. And when it comes right down to it, most of them are glorified football fans guessing, just the way I am.
Well, then we know that the 49ers are pretty darn smart.
Damn right.
I'm going with the Niners.
Okay, you go with the Niners. I will put. This is what I want.
Right.
I want the Ravens and the points.
Okay.
And either way, win or lose, the winner buys the other one at the Old Country Tavern there in Greater Tyler.
Deal.
I've never been there. I've always heard it's great. So now I've got a reason to go out there.
Deal. That is a deal. That's a great bet. I'll do that because I'll be happy to buy if I lose. I'm fine with that because that stuff's that good.
Okay. Very good. I'm stoked, and now I've got a reason to watch it, not just turn it off and watch Barney.
Let's hope so anyway.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, Rihanna ain't, or whoever it is, Beyonce ain't doing it for me, okay?
Well, and not only that, now at least she's doing it lip syncing, so I'm all about that.
There you go. Hey, Mac, it's great talking to you, buddy. And we're getting ready for that rib visit. That's going to be great stuff.
Look forward to it, Brian.
Right,
thanks a lot.
All right, thanks a
week.
lot. Mac Engel from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, DFWOT on Bryan Houston Sports Radio Live on 99.3 Talk FM.